to Mr. Tim Check's carpentry class, and today we're going to be talking about fall safety. So, fall protection. Anytime you're above, generally above 10 feet from the ground, you're going to want to wear some type of fall protection. What fall protection means is you have a safety harness and you're tied off to some kind of anchor point on a structure. Like you see him got a harness on and he's anchored to the structure. So the first part of this is the safety harness itself. Now you're going to want to make sure you inspect every single time the safety harness before you put it on. Make sure it doesn't have any rips or tears. Make sure all the buckles are working and everything is how it should be. Check it every single time. Don't just rely on the person that used it before you that it's good to go. Always use OSHA approved. You don't want to cheap out on safety harnesses. It's just something that you want. If it does happen, you want it to be able to work properly. You would never want to use a cheap parachute if you're jumping out of a plane. You don't want to use a cheap safety harness. Obviously, just don't tie yourself, tie your tool belt on with some rope or something like that. That's not a proper safety harness. You have to use everything that's meant for that purpose. All right. All right. The safety harness itself has to be worn correctly. Everything has to be tight. You have attached. You have this D ring in the back, and that's what you attach your lifeline rope. So that's your main. That's how it's tied off. So there's a couple different types. There's fall restraint, which is this type. So if you're working on a really tall skyscraper or something like that, you probably wear a fall restraint, and which means that it's not going to give you any leeway. So if you have yourself tied off, so you won't even get close to the edge. Like you just cannot fall off the edge because you're restrained from falling. So this guy can't even get close to this edge because he has a restraint. There's, what you do have is like this tie off point that you can kind of move around. That's all the same point on the roof, so you won't get any further off. So this is like another example on top of a shipping container, it looks like, and he just cannot, like, no matter which way he goes, he can't fall off the roof. Fall arrest is a little bit different. You kind of have more of a slack line, and it doesn't prevent you from falling off, but it prevents you from hitting the ground. So this is fall arrest. And the thing about these fall arrests is that you fall off, and there's a shock absorbing strap that kind of stops you from having a sudden jerk that could further your injury. So that jerk, if you fell off and you just had like a taut rope, it would really jerk your body once the slack tightened. So this kind of reduces that shock to your body once the slack tightens up and deploys. All right, so you fall, and then you have your slack that absorbs the shock of you falling, and you're good. And there's the shock absorbing strap right here. And here's the rope that we use. Really good rope. It has the the whole shock absorbing strap and everything. All right, so here's the kind of a hierarchy of protection. Obviously, you want to eliminate the hazards. Have your barriers around so you don't fall off. Wear a harness. All right, that'd be definitely ideal. And then so it doesn't even let you fall off the edge. That's your fall restraint. If you need to go places where you need more of a slack line to get different areas, you're gonna want to use fall arrest. And then the last one is more just like it's obviously says not recommended, so we don't even worry about that. All right, some of the hazards of when you do fall is that you might hit something. So it's really important that you have your PPE on, such as your hard hat. So if you do fall and you hit your head on something, um, you have some protection on it. Obviously, safety glasses. But it's like when you fall, you might be able to swing in things. Obviously, the most important thing to protect is your head. The problem is after a fall, you have to have a plan to get the person down. And so, because they're kind of just dangling there, and the straps are pretty tight on you, so you can lose circulation pretty fast and lose consciousness. You also have to have a plan because they might have hit their head pretty good, might be unconscious just from the fall, so you have to get them down, and then you might not count on them to be helping you out trying to get themselves down. So you have to have some kind of plan in place, all right, to rescue the people. Usually within 10 minutes, you got to get them down, or else it could be pretty deadly from loss of blood circulation. So for residential, all right, you put an anchor point on the roof. So there's a strap that looks just like one of these, and you're going to be nailing or screwing these to a rafter plus the ridge board, whatever solid framing you can nail to. You don't want to nail this or screw this into the sheathing. It's usually only about a ½ inch. It's just not enough bite with the screw or nail to hold you in case of a fall. It could rip right out and then you'd fall to the ground anyways. So these are just a couple ones. This one slips underneath the shingles, so you can kind of keep shingling after that. That's kind of handy. Obviously, the most common one is you got to put it at the top. Okay, so this is the nice fall rest system here. You guys got your slack line, so you can kind of adjust it as you go. It's just worth it to do one of these, to use one of these. They're easy to install, and it can save your life. All right, I just have a couple videos here of how to install these. You can check those out at your leisure. So this is fall safety.